with a top WWE star talking about retirement and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Mentioning a plan to return to Arthur Ashe Stadium for All Elite Wrestling, Ringside News wrote that according to PW Insider, it was reported that the promotion is set to return to the venue in 2024, with plans for it to be a pay-per-view event rather than a television taping. If this unfolds, it would mark the first AEW pay-per-view in New York City proper, as World's End took place in Long Island instead. Talking about his promo from Raw, where he called out Conor McGregor, UFC lightweight fighter Michael Chandler told the MMA Hour, "I literally injured my voice on Monday Night Raw. Before I went on, one of the producers was like, hey, this microphone, it's gated. What does that mean? It means you have to speak up. I don't think that will be a problem. The moment took over and a star was born. It was planned. I was going to be at Raw. Obviously, TKO Group, UFC, WWE, all one big happy family. This was the first time they were intermingling the UFC crowd with WWE crowd, bringing some fighters. They put me down in the front row and I took matters into my own hands. 2 minutes before, they said they were going to put the camera on me. I said, why don't you give me the microphone? Hold on, let me run it up the flagpole. About a minute later, you're going on and you'll get the microphone if you want it. Magic happened. There was nothing prepared. I was thrown into the fire, smacked myself a couple of times, and we went." Speaking about the possibility of Jade Cargill taking part in WrestleMania 40, Booker T said on his Hall of Fame podcast, "I'd love to see more of Jade Cargill myself, to be honest. Just put her in there and let her beat up some people, squash a few girls. I'm sure she's training. I'm sure she's down at the Performance Center training on a regular basis. And that might be even better for her. You never know. The last time we saw Jade Cargill, she looked pretty damn good in the ring. She did not look like she was out of place at all. I think that comes from just that little bit of training, trying to learn that intricate detail as far as why you're in the ring. So I think having that training with the WWE, working with those guys down there, will definitely give her that little bit of an edge. So when she goes to the ring, she's going to feel a whole lot more comfortable being in there." With him not qualifying for the Elimination Chamber match that will be in his home country of Australia, Bronson Reed debunked a rumor regarding this, writing on X, "My people, yes, my wife is pregnant. No, that is not the reason I'm not on Elimination Chamber. Thank you for your concerns. Sometimes the stars don't align." Taking to X for an update on former WCW star Steve Mongo McMichael, who was recently hospitalized, Jarrett Payton wrote yesterday that Mongo is set to return home tomorrow. "We appreciate all the prayers and kindly ask for continued thoughts and prayers for Steve and his family." When it comes to alterations for plans involving Sting on AEW Dynamite this week, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that there's a lot of stuff on the show tonight. Sting was supposed to be in the show, but his father died. Ric Flair was there because Sting was supposed to be there, and then they did whatever they did. One of the reasons so little was announced was because they didn't know if Sting would be able to come. Addressing the incident in AEW where Cody Rhodes took a sledgehammer to a throne, Triple H told Alan and Carly, "I laughed about it then. People make that stuff out to be so much more than it is. If I was in his shoes, I'd have done the same thing. And it's one of the things that I love about Cody is I watched Cody go from being a kid in this business, and I don't mean that as disrespectful. He's literally a kid. His dad was in some way a mentor to me. We started NXT together. He was a big part of that system. I learned a lot from Dusty and sort of sitting under his learning tree as well. We had a wonderful partnership, and to see him grow from literally this kid to coming in, trying to find his way in the business and come out of his dad's shadow, which was monumental. Then gambling on himself to go find himself and find who he was. Announcing that he has retired the seated Spanish Fly following a botch of the Move in a match against Carmelo Hayes, Austin Theory told the West Australian. Something goes wrong and it doesn't feel right, and then seeing the video footage back and myself upset down, literally on top of my head. Wow, like very grateful for that, and that move is retired for Austin Theory, so yeah. In an update on the legal situation with the son of a WWE legend, Ringside News wrote that Nicholas Balea, also known as Nick Hogan, the son of WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan, is set to appear for a pre-trial hearing on Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. in Pinellas County Court in Florida. The hearing, initially scheduled for January 17th, was postponed. Balea was arrested on the morning of November 18th, 2023 at 4 a.m. in Clearwater, Florida, following his return home from a bikini contest at his father's restaurant. He refused to submit to a breathalyzer test upon being taken into custody. According to the arrest report, Balea's 2021 Dodge Ram approached a traffic stop set up by officers. Despite being signaled to pull over, Balea did not vacate the lane or reduce his speed. Officers clocked him driving 51 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone. Upon being pulled over, Balea exhibited signs of impairment, including a strong odor of alcohol, swaying balance, and bloodshot glassy eyes. He performed poorly on field sobriety tests. Body cam footage from the police has been posted on YouTube showing Balea initially denying drinking and later attributing the smell of alcohol to kissing his girlfriend, who had been drinking. Hulk Hogan, Nick's father, was also shown arriving at the scene at some point after Nick was pulled over. On December 21st, 2023, Balea's attorneys filed a motion requesting permission for him to enter venues serving alcohol to perform his occupational duties as a DJ. This request comes despite a court order prohibiting him from frequenting such establishments as a condition of his release. The court has yet to rule on the motion. Balea has waived his right to a speedy trial. This incident marks another in Balea's troubled history, including a previous incident involving reckless driving that left a family friend, John Graziano, permanently disabled. Graziano's mother expressed dismay over Balea's latest arrest, emphasizing the lack of respect for the consequences of his actions and hoping for a turnaround in his life before it's too late. While The Rock is not being advertised for the Elimination Chamber event, Triple H had this to say about him potentially appearing for the show, telling Zav and Michelle for Breakfast podcast, "I'm not going to spin that because I don't want people expecting that and not see that. This show will be spectacular and nobody will miss The Rock." As this all came to be, his schedule is quite tight, as you can imagine, so we have him for a lot of events. Unfortunately, this was not one of them. Revealing his in-ring status for WWE, Robert Roode, who has been out of action for over a year following neck fusion surgery, said this on Insight with Chris Van Vliet. "Ironically enough, I just got green-lighted. The fusion has completely fused. So as far as looking at it from a medical point of view, it's safe to get back in the ring, I guess. But at almost 48 years old, given the opportunities I've been given now to work as a producer, which was my goal coming to WWE almost 8 years ago, I'm quite happy doing this. And I feel like I've had a good run, as they say, and I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing now." Following his match on AEW Dynamite, Hangman Adam Page could be seen limping on his way up the ramp. For additional information on Page's possible health situation, it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio that could be a broken ankle. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard somebody that was at ringside when he was on the ground. He was saying he thought his ankle was broken. Talking about the age you would like to retire from in-ring action, John Cena, who will be 47 in April, told the Howard Stern show, "I think I can make it to 50, but I don't think I can make it past 50. I think that at 50, if we don't plan another event, I just have to tweet, I'm out, hashtag see ya. Everyone wants to write their last chapter, but that's beyond my control." Stern's co-host, Robin Quivers, then said, "You could do this for another 10 years. I don't think this is the end. You look great." Ringside News added that in response, Cena shared a laugh and acknowledged the physical toll that wrestling takes, suggesting that it's not just about how one looks, but also about how they feel afterward. With her reportedly having received interest from WWE, AEW, and even TNA, former NWA Women's Champion Kamille said this on her YouTube channel regarding her next move in pro wrestling when asked if she would sign with any of these three promotions. "Luckily, I had interest from all three, and I'm very blessed for that. I took all of January to really think through my options and weigh out the pros and cons of everything. After much deliberation, I have decided, and the company I've decided to go with is..." Mentioning plans for Jeff Hardy on AEW Dynamite that were canceled, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that Jeff Hardy was supposed to be on the show in a key role. One of the reasons so little was announced was because they didn't know if Sting would be able to come. The Jeff Hardy and Trent Beretta, there was supposed to be a singles match with Orange Cassidy. I have no idea why, but it'd been built up. Then they announced Beretta was injured and had done an injury thing on the show, but he was actually ill, but they were waiting till basically today, and that's why they put Mike Bennett in that spot. I was told that it was very chaotic backstage. The reason they didn't announce anything was because so much of what they wanted to do, they didn't know if they'd be able to do, so they didn't want to false advertise. Speaking about his and his family's journey in pro wrestling, the son of Off of the Wild Samoan, Lloyd Anoa'i, said this to Steve Fall of Wrestling News. "It's wonderful. We've made such an impact on the wrestling industry from years ago with my dad and my uncle. From High Chief Peter Maivia, my other uncle in our generation, when we were there. It's a blessing to see how our bloodline is going. It hasn't stopped yet. I don't know how far it's going to go. I know the Anoa'i dynasty and the Fatu dynasty will be in the wrestling industry for many years to come. Rikishi, he has both this kids in the business. Myself, from my dad, there's three of us. My brother Samu, Afa Jr., and myself. I got my brother, Samu's son, Lance Anoa'i. That's all third generation. Jacob Fatu, you got Journey Fatu, you got Zilla Fatu. There's so many of us. We're taking over the industry. We signed in 97. They put me, Rikishi, and my cousin Matt, which is Rosie. We were gonna go in as New Age Samoans. They had us on the road. We stayed home for a while. They had to stay home and get in shape and all that stuff. They had us on the road. We were just doing house shows and they were going to debut us. As everybody knows in WWE, if they got something else planned, they'll pull something back. We were on the road and we debuted in Boston one time. After that, they kept us on the road, and after that, we were done. I was actually supposed to be in 3 Minute Warning, but at that time, I wasn't able to be there. Umaga at that time was there, and they were in Pensacola, and they were out there and tore the house down and became 3 Minute Warning. I was happy that he was there and became what they were. It was me, Maddie, and my brother in ECW. We were Samoan Gangsta Party. We had great matches with the Gangstas, Devon and Bubba. There were so many good times there as well. I was supposed to be there. They had us all coming in and one of us got sick. They wanted everybody there. They couldn't get everybody there. They changed the plans and all that. I'm trying to go back as a producer with them. I actually did the package for SummerSlam with my family. That was a great opportunity. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, somewhere down the line, I can go back and be a producer and retire with that. I'm still wrestling, but going on 37 years, I put in a lot of time. Speaking about what he did behind the scenes for the SummerSlam video package, he says, they had the vision and I went and helped with my uncle. We went down to Pensacola, Florida. We went over there and did his thing about the red necklace. Who better to explain it than my dad and my uncle? It helped them with that. We went there and did a thing with my dad, and on the way there, we did something with Bianca Belair too. It was fun, it was interesting, it was something that was a little more experience for me to see that and help with it. I was honored. Giving details on his contract with TNA Wrestling, Moose told In the Weeds, "I have a 5-year contract with TNA and I'm expected to perform and live out all 5 years of that deal and continue my goal to build TNA to bigger and better things." Following Anthem's firing of Scott D'Amore as president of TNA Wrestling, Ringside News noted that PW Insider has indicated that a talent meeting will take place before Saturday's TV taping in New Orleans, with speculation that Len Asper, the head of Anthem, may be in attendance. In an attempt to promote a film he will be starring in called Ricky Stenicki, John Cena has opened an OnlyFans account under that name. As the page reads, "You found the verified OnlyFans account for Ricky Stenicki, renowned impersonator, philanthropist, investment banker, socialite, cancer survivor, and method actor. Subscribe to get spicy pics and vids." Going over word of WWE looking to work with a celebrity for the upcoming WrestleMania event, WrestleVotes reported that sources within WWE indicate there is interest in collaborating with Sylvester Stallone for WrestleMania in some form. While any communication status is unclear, I'm told there's hope for it. Whether it ultimately ends up happening or not is to be determined. Stallone, born in NYC, gained fame through the iconic Rocky films, deeply associated with Philadelphia. Additionally, Stallone is no stranger to the WWE world, having inducted Hulk Hogan into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. In an update on the supposed injury to Hangman Page during AEW Dynamite, Fightful Select noted that at the conclusion of his match on the February 21st AEW Dynamite, Hangman was holding his ankle and encouraging the cameras to not film him. He was helped to the backstage area and limped there, but we're told that this was an angle and he was fine once he got backstage. We're told this could be worked into the show now, but upon returning to the backstage area, Page was completely fine. One talent used a phrase that has often been used in situations like this: "Yeah, he's okay, he's just good at his job." Sticking with Hangman Page, this was said regarding him possibly having a match at AEW Revolution. As Brian Alvarez said on Wrestling Observer Live, Hangman is not hurt. He worked an ankle injury, and the reason that he worked the ankle injury is because he has something going on in his personal life and he may not be able to work the pay-per-view. If he can't work the pay-per-view, then this is the cover story as to why he can't work the pay-per-view. He injured his ankle. Virtually nobody knew about it, and I don't know if even the people in the match knew that he was going to do this. There were people very close to Hangman who even this morning didn't know what was going on. I presume that him and Tony Khan talked about it, but I can't tell you that for sure. The point of the story is he is okay. He may work the pay-per-view, he may not work the pay-per-view, and I don't know if we're going to know whether he's going to work the pay-per-view or not until maybe the last minute. I don't know what the personal issues are, but they are there, and that's what's going on. When it comes to CM Punk making it out for the Elimination Chamber show this weekend, Ringside News wrote that despite initial speculation suggesting a possible appearance at this Saturday's Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Australia, a recent report has debunked such rumors. According to PW Insider, CM Punk did not accompany WWE to Australia and remains in the United States. While it's presumed that he is undergoing rehabilitation for his injury, WWE has not incorporated incorporated him into their plans for the Elimination Chamber event. Previously, there were rumors circulating that Punk was slated to emerge victorious in the Elimination Chamber matchup and subsequently challenge Seth Rollins for the Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. However, with his current injury status and absence from the Australian event, those plans seem to have been put on hold. Revealing his preferred opponent for WrestleMania 40, World Heavyweight Champion of WWE Seth Rollins told Nathan, Nat, and Sean, "I want to face Randy Orton. I owe him one. We had a WrestleMania match many moons ago, WrestleMania 31. 9 years later, we're both in different places in our careers. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton on the marquee sounds beautiful." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.